Hi, I'm Stephanie Reid, and welcome to The Minutes. Thanks for listening today. It's great to have you along on The Minutes for the week of October 27th, 2025. This is a City of Thunder Bay podcast. The Minutes looks at what happened at the Thunder Bay City Council meeting this past week, and you can find The Minutes wherever you get your podcasts, including our YouTube channel and our website, thunderbay.ca/The Minutes. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. This week, the Growth Standing Committee met. On the agenda, 3 big items: the draft Smart Growth Action Plan, a request for municipal support for the proposed Versorium power generation facility, and an update on the Build Thunder Bay call for proposals. We'll break down the highlights from the Growth Standing Committee, and later I'll be joined by the Senior Advisor to Growth to talk about how you can provide your input and feedback into the Smart Growth Action Plan. Like all Council and Standing Committee meetings, this meeting began with a land acknowledgement before getting into the agenda. The first item on the agenda was an information report from the team working on the Smart Growth Action Plan. The Smart Growth Action Plan is a 10-year roadmap to grow Thunder Bay's population and tax base that has been developed by Task Force Growth. That's a group made up of over 20 community leaders, including Charlotte Robinson, the president of the Thunder Bay Chamber of Commerce, who gave a deputation offering the Chamber's support of the plan following the administration presentation. The Smart Growth Action Plan was shaped through months of community input gathered through focus groups, town halls, surveys, and meetings, and the feedback came from residents, businesses, Indigenous organizations, educators, young professionals, and more. And last week, the team working on developing the plan presented it in draft form to City Council. The opportunities for the public to provide input are not over, however, as this week the team brought their plan for public engagement to the Growth Standing Committee. There is extensive community engagement planned between now and December 2nd, the date that the plan goes back to City Council for final approval, and we will hear more about how you can have your say on the Smart Growth Action Plan before it gets approved by Council in just a few minutes when we talk to the Senior Advisor to Growth, Matt Pearson. Administration's report noted that the Smart Growth Action Plan is not your typical strategic plan, and it is built on and goes beyond existing studies and plans by identifying over 100 specific actions designed to drive economic growth and improve the quality of life in Thunder Bay. And then it offers clear, measurable outcomes to gauge success. The plan is built around 3 main pillars: readiness, and making sure that Thunder Bay is ready to grow. Do we have the infrastructure we need, and what can we prepare now to be ready when the opportunity comes? Attraction. This is making Thunder Bay a more attractive place to live and do business, both by physically cleaning and doing maintenance work, but also looking at how we talk about ourselves and market our community externally. And talent, and making sure that we have the skilled workforce that we need to grow into the future. And what can we do to teach and build those skills in the folks that are already here, and how can we attract folks with the skills that we need to join us? The Growth Committee will have an opportunity to review the updated plan in late November before it returns to Council for its final approval. The next item was a deputation from Versorium Energy Limited. Versorium initially presented on September 23rd and was asked to return with public engagement results and more detailed information. This week, representatives of Versorium Energy Limited and Enerflex appeared before committee, provided a presentation, and responded to questions regarding the proposed project. The project is being proposed to help meet Ontario's growing electricity needs, and it is estimated that the facility could generate up to 31 megawatts of electricity during peak demand, while also providing thermal energy to Canada Malting for industrial use. Administration noted in their report that the proposed project aligns with the city's official plan, as the site is designated and zoned heavy industrial, where power generation facilities are permitted and considered compatible. The project also supports the goals of the draft Smart Growth Action Plan, particularly strengthening local energy capacity, industrial efficiency, and economic resilience. After some discussion, the committee endorsed the recommendation to City Council supporting Versorium Energy's proposal to develop, construct, and operate a new electricity generation facility at 579 Maureen Street. Next up, the Build Thunder Bay team has been working to develop strategies and actions to achieve the housing targets set as the condition of the city receiving the federal government's Housing Accelerator funding. Part of this work has been to invite local developers to submit project ideas for 10 city-owned opportunity sites. These are areas that have significant potential for new housing and community growth. Administration received over a dozen proposals demonstrating very strong interest and confidence in the city's direction, and after evaluating them, 4 high-scoring proposals were identified. 400 units at 300 Tokyo Street, approximately 200 units have been proposed for 144 Fanshawe, 600 units at 791 Arundel Street, and another 185 units have been proposed on Tupper and Camelot Streets. Together, these 4 projects represent the potential for 1,385 new homes, a significant addition to the local housing supply, and a big step towards Thunder Bay's housing goals. These developments would also create jobs, support local businesses, and bring in an estimated $400 million in construction investment and up to $2.8 million in new annual property taxes. So what are the next steps? Well, starting now, the city is inviting the public to provide input on the declaration of these properties as surplus so that they can be sold for development. Then, on November 25th, the Growth Standing Committee will review the feedback and decide whether to endorse the recommendation to move ahead. If approved, these projects will help the city meet its 2026 housing targets and could unlock nearly $6 million in additional federal funding for 2027. So, I am joined in the Minute Studio today by the city's Senior Advisor to Growth, Matt Pearson, to tell us a little bit about the Smart Growth Action Plan and the engagement plan for it. Hey, Matt, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Steph. Thanks for having me.
So, for anyone who isn't familiar yet, can you just give a quick overview of what the Smart Growth Action Plan is and why you're developing it?
Yeah, so the Smart Growth Action Plan is really a community effort. It's being kind of led by the city. And it's meant to address the lack of growth we've experienced over the last 10 years. We have brought together a task force on growth that helps inform and direct the ideas and the actions that go in this. And it really is an action plan. So this document has in it 106 things that the city needs to do to realize some population growth and some property tax assessment growth. The third one, goal that we're looking at is we're looking at increasing our industrial and commercial tax base. We know the plethora of benefits that come with that, including improved employment opportunities. We're seeing better land use. Also, those properties tend to pay a little bit higher rate in property taxes, which then lessens the burden on our residents. So all in all, it's meant to address some lack of growth. We're looking to kickstart some growth. It is strategic in nature, but really the core of the plan is action-based. We are going to do these things, and it's not about the city doing, it's about the city coordinating with the community and doing these things together.
That sounds really good. And more people and more folks to sort of spread out the tax burden is great. But take it back down to the reality and the vision of this whole thing. In 2035, if this plan worked 10 years from now, what does growth mean for Thunder Bay? What does it look like here? Well,
this is an exciting question. I think we can see with some communities that are growing, they haven't been deliberate about it, or they haven't put a lot of thought. They haven't been able to put thought ahead of growth. Growth sort of happened to them. There was immigration policies that were in play on a federal level. The country absorbed a lot of people. We are talking about intentional growth, and we're talking about growing into this plan also. We're not expecting to meet these goals right away. So in 10 years, if we're experiencing a 1% growth in population and a 3% growth in property tax base every year, that should, keep us comfortably ahead of what we predict inflation is going to be, meaning your municipal services can continue to be delivered without passing those increases on through a tax rate increase. But the other thing, the more tangible benefit is we're calling for changing a lot of spaces in our town, being more accessible for the community. We're looking at improving living in Thunder Bay by a tremendous way. You look at the revitalization, the calls to revitalize each of the downtown north and south cores. We want to potentially lead a medical health clinic to help bring more medical access for people that live in Thunder Bay. We're looking at more and better housing options for people, completing the full spectrum, not just focusing on single-family detached. And so the opportunity, and let's talk about employment opportunities. If we continue to are able to work with industry and commerce and bring those here, and those that are here now, help them expand and realize their potential, these are going to result in increased job opportunities. Our post-secondary schools are doing a great job bringing people into this community. wouldn't it be great if our youth decided to stay here more than leave, and some of those students that chose to come to Thunder Bay chose to stay after they were done their education? And that really is, I think, breathing new life into our community, new ideas, new energy. And so by nature, I'm an optimist. I think this plan actually supersedes that level of optimism.
So a lot of the things you mentioned there are things that, we've heard folks around the community talking about for years. Why don't they do something about this and something about that? And so now that this plan is out there and we're in that public engagement phase, what opportunities are there for residents to provide some, input and tell you what they think about this plan? And I guess after you tell me what kind of opportunities there are, what are you hoping to hear from them?
Yeah, and so we're midstream of this round of feedback, so I can actually share a little bit of both. So what's coming up is this Saturday, we're going to be at the Goods & Co. Market from open till close, or mid-afternoon, I think. So I'm thinking 9 till 2. Then on Monday, November 3rd, we're at the Italian Cultural Center, and that's from 6 to 8. I'm going to be there. We're going to be talking growth. The very next Saturday, we're at the Thunder Bay Farmers Market. That's November 8th, and we'll be there from, I think, open till close again, looking to talk to people, looking to talk to our local residents here about what matters to them in this plan. And what I can share about what we've received thus far, there's a lot of optimism. I think because this is a slightly different looking plan than maybe our city has put out before. And I want to make sure I'm not criticizing those documents. That's not the purpose of that comment. The purpose is to highlight that this plan is different. And I want to say that because we're actually going line by line saying, if we do this, why we think this is going to be good for growth, in what time frame we're doing it in, who's going to be leading the project. And so for me as a resident as well, of course I live here, I love that accountability piece. So the city's putting out a document that, hey, we're going to work with everyone in the community. We're going to do all of these things. List it out, very clear, over 10 years, and it's completely measurable. And so we have a whole performance management and performance metric system that's going to go behind this, so the community can sit there and go, this has been a good use of our time and resources as taxpayers. And if we're heading in the wrong direction, it's gonna tell us that before the conclusion of the plan. So that gives us the time to pivot to, hey, new programs might be announced, new initiatives might be announced, governments may change. All of these variables may come into play. It would be naive of us to not be nimble enough to take advantage of these opportunities.
Yeah, that's great. And, you talked a lot about how there's, work for the city to do there, and looking through the actions in the plan, a lot of them are assigned to the city and some to other organizations in town. But you've mentioned that this is a community plan. What role is there for residents now or going forward to contribute to growth? Yeah,
now the back of the document does have a call to action page, and it does say, look, you can participate, get civically involved. If you're passionate about these things, it's very easy to go on a Facebook page and provide your comments that way. And make no mistake, I love reading that stuff. It's maybe an unofficial way to collect feedback, but it is valuable. But get involved civically. What we're hearing from organizations when we go out and do these focus groups thus far is that we're on board, we're actually leading some of these actions, but where else can we help? Where else can we achieve? This is one of these rising tides, the rising tide floats all boats sort of initiative, which is why I think we're getting participation from other orders of government, different service delivery like medical, policing, provincial. We're getting support, and organizations are putting their hands up. Now, what does the individual do? The individual can get behind, read the plan, and there are a lot of them in the community. I don't want to pretend like people aren't doing this. They are. Read the plan, critique it. Give us your experience with what we're trying to do and share that. Without that, or in absence of that, we're moving forward. And so if we're gonna genuinely ask for feedback, we take that feedback, we share it with the group, and we incorporate it where it's valuable. And so making sure residents understand that their feedback's being heard and where appropriate, implemented, is key. And I think that's going to be, make sure you stay engaged. And don't be afraid to call out where you think we're misstepping, because that's how we can do that corrective action. And so definitely open to that. And to be honest with you, my family itself does look for opportunities to participate in the municipality. Sometimes showing up at events, absorbing things when the city says, and not just city, when anyone in the community says, we're going to do this or we're going to try this, and these are things that make the fabric of our community. I love participating. I go to festivals that aren't necessarily in my interest, but I also appreciate the fact that someone's doing something here that is entertaining and enjoyable. We do a really good job here outside of the Smart Growth Action Plan or anything the city does of entertaining ourselves with festivals and events and things that are going on. I think we take that for granted sometimes. I think we're a really good only child in that sense because of some of the geographic isolation. But staying involved, getting out there, participating is a huge tool, and that gets you into a better place of being an informed citizen, and your ability to share is received.
Well, I couldn't agree any more with that. Speaking of participating, I know you've already said it, but take this opportunity again. How can people connect with you on this plan? Where is that information, and where are you going to be? Yeah,
so right now that's live, and it will probably remain live for a long time. We have that Get Involved page on the Thunder Bay website. That is open right now. We've got the plan on there. You can go through it, flip through it. You can print it. We're not printing copies just yet because it's a little premature. This is something we'd like to get passed by council first before we print en masse. But the document's available there. There are some leading questions to help get the conversation going. But make no mistake, those text boxes are there for you to share what you think. What has also worked very well is that there's an email, growth@thunderbay.ca. That comes right to myself and a few other people on the growth team. You are guaranteed going to get a response if you email that with anything. You're going to get, hey, at least an acknowledgement that we've read and received your email. And so I want residents to really know that they can always connect with us. If you're part of an organization or you want to bring in someone to talk about growth, reach out. If it makes sense and it's a good use of time, we are here to support educating the community on this plan to make sure that the benefits we see are the same ones they see, and if there are blind spots, that we address those.
That's awesome. Just before we finish, you mentioned approval. What is the timeline? What are the next steps?
Yeah, so we're in our consultation phase right now, and today's late October 28th, I think. So we're going to head into November 25th. We're coming back to the Growth Standing Committee to share with that committee all of the feedback we're receiving right now. And so we're going to reflect the changes that are made from the plan as it exists today. We're going to share on that day the changes that have been made through this consultation phase. And then from there, we go next week to City Council, where we'll have the benefit of the 13 members of Council to discuss. And the goal would be to get it approved, although that's a little presumptuous to assume. That is what we're working towards.
That's awesome. Just before we wrap up, is there anything else you would like folks to know at this point?
No, I appreciate everyone might not be as excited about growth as I am, but I encourage you to get involved, to read it, to reach out. We're here to support you, and thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I know a lot of work was put into the Smart Growth Action Plan, and there is still lots to do. So I really appreciate you taking some time out to come and chat with us. That is it for this week's episode of The Minutes. A big thank you to Matt Pearson, the Senior Advisor to Growth, for joining us. And as always, thanks to you for listening. If you want more information on City Council, on agendas or minutes, visit thunderbay.ca/council. You can catch the minutes every week wherever you get your podcasts, on YouTube, on our website at thunderbay.ca/theminutes. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you never miss an update. I'm Stephanie Reid. Thanks again for listening to The Minutes, and have a great week.